The real friction is on Twitter. Mum is also on Twitter. She is at Joe Lycett. You can follow her. She posts her paintings. She also searches not only my name, but searches what people are writing to me, what people are writing about me. So she will have seen all the tweets that you sent tonight. She loves reading them. She'll go through all of them. And she also sometimes will show me tweets when, like, I've been on telly. Every time you go on telly, there's a bit of nastiness. It comes with the job. There was one she showed me which I loved, which was, I'd just been on Blankety Blank with David Williams, which, to be fair, was dog shit. And I got a tweet which just said, "You're not funny." And I appreciated the succinctness of the tweet, but what I loved about it is I looked at the woman's profile who'd sent it, and she's a self-esteem coach. Maybe she's the self-esteem coach of a rival comedian. Maybe Ramesh was feeling down on his luck. I thought he'd bring me down. But this is something I'm getting used to, but like sometimes people will now tweet when they've seen me out and about, say they've seen me somewhere, they might take a picture, and that's fine, comes with the job. But sometimes I don't want Mum to know where I've been. And this, the worst example for this, I said to her one morning, I said, "I'm going to Manchester to see my friend Josephine, we're going to have a light lunch, and then I'm going to get the train back to Birmingham." Went to Manchester, got totally shit-faced with Josephine, had a pasty on the train on the way home, little pasty to soak up the alcohol. Got home, Mum was like, "Oh, being healthy, are you?" I was like, yeah. I mean, I had a couple of glasses of wine, but I had a salad at lunch. She was like, "Explain this. Somebody took a picture of me on the bloody train, didn't they?" Really enjoyed that pasty, as you can see. Looks worryingly like that when you put it together as well. Could have been Prime Minister. Oh, I got her back, though, because I did a tweet. It wasn't actually about her, but she was offended by it anyway. The tweet was, "To find out your dirty prostitute name, take your mother's surname and put her first name in front of it." 1,000 retweets, thank you, Twitter. So based on that, and also just because I'm turning 30 this year, I've moved out. I've moved into an up-and-coming area of Birmingham. Whether it'll up or come or not, I don't know. It's called King's Heath, the area that I'm in. Oh, can I have a lift? I thought I was buying a nice place, really, but it's a bit of a dump. And there's damp in there and all sorts of problems. And my dad, who's just retired, he's taken over as project manager of the project. Official reason for this is that I'm too busy to coordinate all of the works myself, couldn't possibly do it all myself. The real reason is I can't speak to tradesmen. I tried to speak to the electrician over WhatsApp. He doesn't like an emoji. Oh! 4 aubergines, he got very confused. Amazing. He seems to know. He was a teacher before he retired. He knows loads of stuff about houses. He goes up to floorboards and he'll go, "Yeah." Won't tell me what that means, but he knows something. There was a door that needed fixing. He just came round and made and fitted a door. I was like, "How do you know to do that? You're a teacher." He's like, "I don't know. I just sort of know from birth." From birth? Sorry, all the other kids are in the nursery crying. You're there making a trestle table. Come on, mate. I think what happens, it has to. When you become a father, you go to some sort of dad's school where they teach you how to do all of this shit, but not how to get emotion into a text message. The messages I sent to father, long rambling endeavours, "Just landed, wonderful holiday, food was fantastic, weather was glorious, happy to be back, but sad to not be in that wonderful weather. How are you, is all well?" The reply will just be, "Yes, fine." Are you a hostage? Yes, lockdown got in the way of doing stand-up. I was meant to do this tour a lot sooner. And I had my jab. This is me having my jab. And the nurse said, "Oh, do take a photo and put it on Instagram. We're trying to promote the vaccine." She hadn't considered I might put a caption with it. I just wanted a Tuesday afternoon strippogram, and now I'm hooked on meth. And then underneath, this post was sponsored by Microsoft, Shoezone and Screwfix. All the anti-vaxxers are out in force. Someone called me a foot soldier of tyranny. I love that. That's going on the posters next year. Someone else said, "Idiot, I bet he was paid thousands for this and didn't even take the vaccine." You got me there. Shoezone did pay me thousands. Fair play. I get it. It was scary to have the vaccine. A friend of mine was absolutely terrified. She had it, and then afterwards she said, "I don't want to think about it. I just want to get drunk." And we had 3 bottles between us. And the next morning she rang me and she went, "Joe, I've had a terrible reaction to the vaccine." I was like, "It might be the gavi-de-gavi, darling." I said, "What are your symptoms?" She went, "Oh, I've got a terrible headache. And weirdly, a brand new tattoo." That's the vaccine. I've got this neighbour who's very handsome. He lives a few doors down from me. He's called George, and I never know what he's up to. He's always doing weird stuff, because he rang me the once and he said, "Have you got a flat-headed screwdriver?" And I looked and I said, "I haven't got one, sorry." And he went, "Never mind. Any hummus?" What evening are you having? I don't know what you're doing. And I got COVID on the 1st of January this year, and he rang me on the 5th, and he said, "Are you all right, Joe? I've not seen you come out of your house." And I said, "I'm absolutely fine, George. I've got COVID, but I'm isolating. I've got no symptoms. I'm absolutely fine." And I said, "How are you?" And he went, "Oh, nightmare. I was meant to go to France, but they've closed the borders, and the insurance doesn't pay out if they close the borders, only pay out if I get COVID." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, George." And he went, "Can I come round?" I was like, a hot guy wants to come round to get an infectious disease off me to fuck off an insurance company. I've had dreams about this shit. And I thought about it, and I thought, fuck it. So I invited him round, we had a few beers, had a lovely time. He left, he got a positive PCR test, but he's an anti-vaxxer and he died. R.I.P. George. Little twist in that one. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Oh, it's all good fun, isn't it? It's all good fun. Just out of curiosity, you don't have to cheer if you don't want to, but give me a cheer if you consider yourself part of the LGBTQ plus community. Oh, welcome. The rest of you should leave. Oh, bless you, thanks for coming. Let's talk about another bank that I'm in trouble with. I'm actually in proper trouble with this bank. This is the Royal Bank of Scotland. Right, so Peter worked, not for RBS, he worked in an RBS building in Pigeon Park in Birmingham, if you know it. He was working in an office space in this building. And I went into that office with him last summer. And as a result of that, he had to write a letter of apology to the manager of the building a few days later. And I'll just read to you that letter. He wrote, "Dear Sir, I am writing to explain the incident in your office and offer my sincere apologies for any involvement on my part. I invited a guest to the building to show them a project we had been working on and benefit from his expertise. What had actually happened was we were on the piss and he had a bottle of wine under his desk. At security, he was asked to enter his name for a guest pass. I did not see what he typed because I was dealing with some emails on my phone. They get you to type in your name on a fancy touchscreen as you go into the RBS building. I didn't want to do that. I was feeling silly. So what I did is I just typed in the first 2 words that came to mind, which happened to be rhubarb bikini. I don't know why. There was a short discussion between my guest and the security guard. This is where the security guard quite rightly said, "What's that?" And I said, "It's pronounced Ryan." And he said, "It's spelt rhubarb." And I said, "Yes, it's Irish." Then a pass was printed and we were allowed into the building. Here is that pass. Subsequently, an image of the pass appeared on social media. I put that on Instagram with the caption, "Someone broke into RBS with the pseudonym Rhubarb Bikini." The minute I discovered this, I asked for this image to be removed, but I appreciate that by that point, damage had been done to the reputation of the business. It got about 10,000 likes. I offer a full and sincere apology for this. Regards, Peter. He was taken in for a disciplinary a few days after we did this. They slid this pass over to him and said, "Do you know this man?" I just love the idea of him going, "That's Rhubarb Bikini!" A few weeks later, I received this letter to my home address in the name of Colonel Rhubarb Bikini. Full disclosure, that's because I've opened an account with RBS in the name of Rhubarb Bikini. Here's me opening the account. Colonel, I went with Colonel, I thought that was funny. Are you known by any other name? No. Born in North Korea, living with parents. He's lived a life. He's lived a life, old Rhubarb. They ask you to fill out a form when you've opened an RBS account to say, is there anything else that would have made your application experience better today? I thought about that long and hard, and I thought, yeah, a hand job would have done it, actually. A little hand job would have taken the edge off, really. A nice place to live. We've got a nice Facebook group, the King's Heath Neighbourhood Watch group. I'm sure you've got one in your local area. I'm sure yours is as batshit as ours. This is a sample post. There's a serial pooper who keeps going on Heathfield Road. Definitely human, and from the looks of it, likely the same person. Definitely human, likely the same person. What empirical data are we using for this, please? Oh, that's Martin again. We're very funny people. This wasn't a funny post, but they said the King's Heath Pet Centre was robbed last night. They broke in and stole a bunch of stock and money from the till. Horrible. First comment on this, any leads? It's so efficient, it's beautiful. I'll never write a better joke in my life. It's a nice place to live, King's Heath, nice place. Something made me love it a little less. About 4 years ago, I got in a cab, got into an Uber. And he was the lovely driver. The driver said to me, just started with Uber. I said, how are you finding it? And he said, oh, it's wonderful. I'd lost all my confidence. And now I can put food on the table for the kids and I feel so much better about myself. And I said, how do you feel about King's Heath? Because he lives there as well. And he said, oh, it's a lovely place to live, isn't it? But, you know, we do have our problems. You know, in schools, they're teaching kids it's okay to be gay. I was like, ah, shit. Unfortunately, I've had to deal with quite a lot of homophobia recently. I've discovered that someone in my family is homophobic, which is really disappointing, I suppose is the word, because that's not who we are as a family. We're not homophobic. We're racists! I won't tell you which family member it is. I'll just tell you I've got 3 aunties. I've got Auntie Susan, Auntie Deborah, and anti-gay marriage. And she's a born-again Christian, which is fine. I don't mind being religious, whatever. But born-again is the gayest of the religions she could have chosen. It's so ostentatious. I'm born again. It's so over the top. Literally means you came to it in later life. That's all it means. By that definition, I'm born-again anal beads. So I'm in the back of this Uber and he's saying, they're teaching kids it's okay to be gay in schools. And I said, oh, it's a shame you say that because I'm bisexual and that affects me. And he went, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, I don't want to upset anyone. It's just, in my religion, the anus isn't meant for sex. And I said, well, have you ever had oral sex? And he went, yeah. And I said, well, the mouth's not really meant for sex, is it? And he went, oh. And I said, I'll see you in hell. He loved that. He laughed. We laughed all the way through the journey. At one point, he said, you're really funny. Are you on Facebook? I was like, darling, I'm a huge fucking deal. But nobody, shouted. No one was aggressive. No one was violent. We just had an adult conversation about it. I got out the cab, reported him to Uber, and he lost his job. It's a nice story. It's a nice story. Oh, a solution to the drugs problem, which actually I think is quite good. In my utopia, all drugs are legal, but they're all £1, and you have to really want them because the only way to access them is in those grabber machines that they have at fairs. Waking someone to tell them something unimportant, I just love the idea of running into Mum and going, Mum, 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 Mum! I'm really enjoying the latest series of Game of Thrones. And finally, who called them turtlenecks and not ugly shit clothes? Who did that? Showed Alexa to Peter when he came round when I first got her. I said, that's good, isn't it? She answers questions, plays music. He's like, it's a piece of shit. Disappeared into the house. Next morning, I was talking to my father at 11 a.m. on the dot, because I remember it very vividly, because Alexa pops up and goes, this is your daily reminder to suck a dog's cock. 11 a.m.'s early for that, I feel. 3:45 at the earliest, I find, for sucking a dog's cock. I've also, another thing I love about the house, I've got an off-licence. I love the off-licence. It's an off-licence sort of grocery. Baz, who runs it, my new best friend, he came round to the house when we were doing the works, and I was outside, and he said, oh, can I have a look? And I said, oh, yeah. And I showed him the attic. I said, this will be my bedroom. And he said, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm a comedian. And he went, oh. And that was the extent of the conversation. Next day, I went into the shop. It was really busy. He ran up to me and went, you didn't say you're a TV comedian. I said, oh, yeah, I've been on telly a bit. It's not that big a deal. Let's not make a fuss. And he went, gonna have fun up in that attic? And I said, what do you mean by that? And he went, with all the comedy girls. And I went, oh, chance to be a fine thing. You know, trying to be laddie. And he leant into me and he went, you're a dirty dog. Anyway, Baz and I have been fucking in the attic for a while now. It's been marvellous. The reason I mentioned the off-licence is something happened there on the day that I got the house, and I still can't get my head around it. I went in to get a celebratory bottle. I thought that'd be nice to celebrate buying a house, exciting achievement. In front of me was a lad buying a 4-pack of lager beers. Few tinnies with the boys, what's the game? And I was here, there was a girl. It wasn't Baz on the till that day. It was a girl, she was probably about 18, couldn't have been much older. And she said to the guy, she said, can I see some ID? And he went, fucking hell, for fuck's sake, this is fucking ridiculous. And then had ID. And showed it to her. And she looked at it and she went, yep, that's fine. And he paid for it and went out with his beers. And I went up with my bottle of Pinot Blush. I was like, he was really full on, wasn't it? Really aggressive and horrible. And she went, he's in here every day, and it's always the same. Time moves in one direction. What he was referring to was, at that time, we had protests in our local area outside one of our schools. It was against this, you might remember, it was in the press a little bit. It's called No Outsiders, and it was a series of books that had been curated by one of the teachers at the school, a man called Andrew Moffat. And it was literally books that teach kids that some people have mummies and daddies and all different shapes and sizes of family. This is one of the books, Mommy, Mama and Me, completely harmless book. I'm against this book myself, just because it looks to me like they're raising a young Phil Spector, but other than that, perfectly nice book. This is one of the other books, Daddy, Popper and Me. Again, I'm against this because it looks like Dominic Cummings and I are raising a child weird. I think that's fairly clear. But our MP at the time was this man, a man called Roger Godsiff. Now, I know he looks like a pantomime villain. He's absolutely not. He's a real-life villain. He's a twat. And he's a Labour MP, voted against gay marriage, and while these anti-LGBT protests going on in his constituency, he was nowhere to be seen. I'd emailed him, no response, and in the end, I was like, I'm just going to have to smoke this prick out. So I just did a bit of light trolling of Roger Godsiff, that's all I did. I just tweeted, I just said, has anyone seen Roger Godsiff? I think I saw him riding his bike. Where might you have seen him? People went mad for this. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the gym getting serious gains. I saw him playing for the local team. He got weird quite quickly, but that's Twitter, isn't it? That's what happens on Twitter. But while Roger Godsiff was nowhere to be seen, these protests kept going on. They went on for weeks. And in the end, the protesters started speaking to the press, and they're saying mad shit like this. This is to the BBC. When it comes to sex and things, why are they teaching them that? Why can't they just teach them what they need to be taught? No one was teaching kids how to have gay sex. That's not what these books are about. They're literally teaching kids that some people have mummies, daddies, and all different shapes and sizes of family. No one would write a book teaching kids how to have gay sex. And then I thought, I would like to see that book. And, you know, sometimes if you want something to exist, you have to make it yourself, don't you? So this is A is for anal. I've been working on it for a while. It's a very simple concept in many ways. Very simple concept. Teach your child the alphabet and gay sex is a very simple concept. David Walliams gave me a quote which is so nice of you. You didn't have to do that. So lovely of David Walliams. And we could play this together, boys and girls. Shout out, what do we think B is for, boys and girls? Balls. Well done, it is balls. It gets trickier. What do we think C's for? CBT, lovely thought. No, it's not, but there's no wrong answers here. Anyone else?
Cock cage.
Cock cage? It's not cock cage, but it could be a cock cage. Yeah, no, I'll give it to you. It's cupping another bloke's balls. That's what it is. What do we think D's for, boys and girls? Dark room, there's some queers in, there we go. Some of you might need to Google that is later, some confused straight people looking at me there. What's a dark room? Just go to it. There's a place called Bolts that I'd recommend. Anyway, E's quite tricky. What do you think E's for, boys and girls? No, that's a nice thought though, Ellen, a nice thought, lovely. Emo?
Easy access.
It is easy access, well done! Well done! Very good! Said so confidently. Dad, is that you? In Newcastle, somebody said, is it E? That hurts. It should be. I got it wrong. You're all going to get this one. Last one, boys and girls. After 3, what do we think F is for? 1, 2, 3. Fisting? It's fighting homophobia, actually. Fisting. We're going to go to an interval shortly. Before we do that, I'd like to tell you about a little project I've been working on with the EDL, the English Defence League. Any members in? Any members? Occasionally there's a crossover with my audience with the EDL. If you're not familiar with the EDL, they don't like Muslims or hair. Those are the two things they despise, Muslims and hair. There was a rally last summer, a rally in Birmingham. You might have seen this picture from it. This is a girl called Sophia Khan. She was facing up to one of the EDL members with this... Yes, she's amazing, Sophia Khan. With this serenity and calmness on her face with all this aggression from the EDL member. In the weeks preceding this rally, I discovered somebody I went to school with, who I am erroneously still friends with on Facebook, is a member of the EDL and was trying to generate support for this rally with his own Facebook group. Now, I like to troll people on social media. using various aliases that I create. So I went on as Angela Middlebin. And I wrote, "Hi guys, looking forward to the rally in Brum later. Think it'll be a lovely day for it. I work in PR with some high-profile right-wing and right-leaning commentators, such as Katie Hopkins, Piers Morgan, and Fern Britton." Now, Fern Britton is, I don't think, right-wing in any way, but she blocked me on Twitter, so fuck her. I know, Fern Britton, of all people, I felt like I've been blocked by Gandhi. I'm now unblocked, I should mention that. It's a long story, really. I won't go into it. There was a threat on her life. Let's move on. She'll be dead by dusk. She's actually a very nice lady. I continued. "One of my clients brought to my attention the fact that there is an organisation already using the name EDL. This is all true, I did some research. It is a company called Electricité du Liban and supplies electricity to the country of Lebanon. According to recent stats, Lebanon is 54% Muslim, which means, in effect, that the EDL is powering Muslims. As a result, I think an immediate rebrand of the EDL and change of name ahead of the rally is necessary. I've discussed this with my colleagues in the office, and we have come up with the name Eyes on Islam, or ISIS for short. See you all there, love Angela. Within 3 minutes, somebody called Ben put, join ISIS sounds a lot like ISIS. Well done, Ben! He suggested, what about UK Defence League? You could have @UKDL on Twitter. Now, I did some research into this to see if this is viable. Unfortunately for Ben, it's not. There's already an @UKDL account on Twitter. It's private, but you can read the blurb. This is the blurb. "We all start off in nappies. Many of us will end up in them. So why not enjoy them in between as well? It's an adult nappy wearer, which... Fine. Each to their own. You do you. But I'm not sure the vibe the EDL's going for. So I suggested, what about the Islamic Cessation Group, or ISIS for short? Ben put, still sounds like ISIS. Well done, Ben! I put, how about Islam should immediately stop, or ISIS for short? He worked it out then. He put, fuck off this group, Angela. I said, OK, Ben, sorry for the hassle. I've got to go to the opticians anyway. Got a pus-filled growth on my cornea. I think it's an eye cyst. Bit of pun fun there. Bless you. About 4 years ago, a friend of mine, she doesn't live in Birmingham, she said, I've got this new boyfriend, and I'd love you to meet him. He's called Greg. And I said, they were coming to Birmingham. I said, why don't you pop round for drinks and nibbles? Or as Boris calls it, national lockdown. Bit of fun there, bit of old school fun there. And they came round, and I've got to be diplomatic about what I say about Greg, because they're still together. I don't like him. If he was a noise, he'd be, just a grey-suited alpha bellend. And he came into my house, and the first thing you see when you come into my house is a painting of a pride flag. And he immediately, literally just met him. He went off on one. He was like, oh, God, this they-them nonsense, for God's sake. There's a bloke at work that wants to be called they-them. It's he or she, isn't it? I was like, we've been very comfortably calling a grown man Pitbull for the last 20 years. We can deal with a bit of they and them. There's a man called The Edge, and we've all been fine with that. I'd like to meet The Edge and wank him off just at the point of completion. Might be my favourite joke in the show, that, just because you have to finish it off yourselves. It's so neat. It's so neat. And Greg's wandering around my house, and he's an estate agent, Greg, and he was treating the whole thing like it was a valuation, going into all the rooms, going, And he went into the kitchen, which looked like this at the time. Perfectly nice, usable kitchen. There were issues with it. It had plaster that was falling away a bit. There was an outhouse at the back with an asbestos roof, but perfectly nice, usable kitchen. And he went into that room, and he went, how much you pay for this place? And I told him, and he went, what, for this? And I said, yeah. And he went, no. You've overpaid there. 20, 30 grand too much, I'd say. And I was so annoyed, because he's absolutely right. I'm terrible at negotiating, and I checked with a friend of mine who's an estate agent as well after he'd left, and she said, yeah, he's probably right, 20, 30 grand too much, but it doesn't matter in the long run, does it? You love the house, you don't want to leave, it doesn't matter. I was like, it does matter, because Greg cannot win. So I've spent the last 4 years trying to get my house price up simply to fuck off Greg. Started by getting the outhouse done. I had it knocked down. Here is a photo during that process. Caption for that was, I thought it was a fart. It's all good fun, it's good fun. Could have gone with them shitting bricks. There were so many options to me. And I was genuinely obsessed with how to get my house price up. I was doing all my research, and I landed on this article in the Mail Online, which reads, "The plaque market, how having a famous blue sign on a home adds prestige and can push up its value." Now, I looked into this. You only get a blue plaque if someone famous has died in the house, and I thought Alan Sugar's not ready for the Ford Fiesta, but I thought a plaque is something to commemorate the building. Lovely idea. So I contacted this woman. Her name is Yvonne Mosquito. That's her actual name. And she was the Lord Mayor of Birmingham. And I wrote to her. I said, yes, a wonderful woman. I wrote to her. I said, "Dear Lord Mayor Yvonne Mosquito, I live in a mid-terrace house in King's Heath and I'm having my kitchen extended. I'd like to invite you to open said kitchen with a grand ceremony, to which I'll also invite many dignitaries, Paul Chattel and Alison Hammond." The Lord Mayor did not reply to this message, but her assistant did and said, "Unfortunately, the Lord Mayor does not attend private events, but we wish you success with the grand opening of your kitchen extension and hope you have a lovely time." I thought that was a very sweet email. Issue is, she said it's because it's a private event, thus giving me a loophole. Mummy loves a loophole. So I said, well, if this is a ticketed event and thus not a private event, would that change things? We could sell tickets for charity. Long story short, this happened.
And Joe Lycett has hosted an official opening for his new kitchen extension.
Everybody, and declare your kitchen extension open.
What a corker of a day, what a corker of a crowd, and what a corker of a kitchen.
Yeah, that happened. I was on Midlands Fucking Today. My favourite show ever. Shafali did the weather live from the kitchen. I just couldn't believe it. I love Shafali. Nick Owen, who hosts the news, a lovely man, he tweeted before saying, "Ridiculous, I know, but we're live from comic Joe Lycett's house tonight, where the Lord Mayor of Birmingham is officially opening his new kitchen. Real red carpet job. Plus the surge in gang war in Wolverhampton." I've been reading your tweets. Some fucked up people in this room. Oh! Right. If I call your name out, if I read one of your tweets out, could you stand up for us? Could we have house lights up for this as well, just so I can see them? Oh, also, Leon, are you all right to... This is Leon, everybody. Say hi, Leon. Are you all right to come out and... So they said, this is my cameraman. I can do whatever I like with him. I mean, if anyone's got suggestions... Hello, Leon. So we're going to zoom in on people. Oh, lovely, look at that. Let's just have a test. Oh, yes. What are these guys? What's your names?
Tony.
Tony and?
Richard.
Tony and Richard. How do you know each other, Tony and Richard?
Partners.
Partners, okay. Well, we've got a lovely picture there. Smile for us. Very nice. That's going straight on Twitter when we finish the show. Find these men. Right, let's have a look at your tweets. There's some really funny ones. Really funny ones. Some people didn't really understand. Oh, love Zoe Ballbag from Fraser. That's good. Oh, where is Fraser? Actually, stand up, from Fraser C04. Where are you? Hello, Fraser. 103 followers. 104 now, I'm following you. And I will follow you home. You sent in Joe Likes Dick. Thanks, mate. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Just like it. I'm not in love with it. I like a dick. I like a dick. Thanks, Fraser. Round of applause for Fraser. Something rather Mel and Sue. Somebody's put Bell and Pooh. This one's really nice. Where's Dave Moore? Dave Moore. Tweet time, Dave? Where are you? You up top there as well? You only sent one in, Dave. You haven't given much information on your profile either. You've got 92 followers. The last thing you did was retweet Jonathan Ross. This isn't a Jonathan Ross-based tweet. What'd you do, Dave? A finance analyst. Gosh, it's boring people up there, isn't it? Where'd you live, Dave? In Kent. Oh. Mixed response from the room for Kent. People down here not sure they like Kent. But then some other people over there love it. Hey, it takes all sorts, doesn't it? You sent in, Dave, Tess sucks off your dad daily. That's really nice. Really lovely work. Round of applause for Dave. Lovely stuff. Daily. Sucks off your dad daily. Mike Blair, where are you? Pickle 246. Where is he? Right at the back. Quite right. Let's have a look at your profile. 22 years old, Arsenal. You're an Arsenal fan. Hey! Hey! Do you watch the game, geezer? Great squad, wasn't it? Great squad. Lovely squad. Was there a game today? I don't know. I've no idea. You like tennis, food and travelling. Lovely. Mike sent in Benedict Cuminghurst snatch. So that's great bit of lad banter, that movie. Did you get a nice shot of him? Lovely, thanks, Leon. You're a bloody lifesaver. You can't catch me. He's good, isn't he? You don't have to say anything. Just nod or shake your head. Do you run? Are you a runner? Not really. So if I ran away. Are you a fighter? I'll kill you dead. Oh, he's frightened now. God, I've never felt more masculine. I've got a weapon as well. I actually thought I was going to do it then.